What's up, guys? It's the Bluebloods, and we are back with another episode. Now, we are going to catch y'all up on all the storylines, the latest news, the breaking news, everything that's been going on in college football. We're going to kick it off talking about the potential NCAA violations that Tennessee committed, the firing of Philip Fulmer, the firing of Jeremy Pruitt. We have all that here. We're going to talk about Texas hiring Alabama offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian. Is this a hire that finally gets Brandon to give an A+? We're going to find out today. We're going to talk about USC stealing one of the best corners in the upcoming recruiting class, Damani Jackson out of Mater D. We're also going to talk Bill O'Brien going to Alabama, and Larry Scott's run as the Pac-12 commissioner is up. I'm going to tell you why the Pac-12 is going to be on the upswing from now on. But, guys, we have a full show today, so let's go ahead and kick it off. So like I said, man, we're going to start with Tennessee. Brandon, I know you hate talking about Tennessee. I hate talking about Tennessee. Our listeners hate listening to stuff about Tennessee, but we had to talk about this. As we all know by now, Jeremy Pruitt out at Tennessee, Brandon, unexpectedly, I would have to say. I thought he was going to get at least another year, but with the violations, I get it. Also, Philip Fulmer gets turned on, so that just makes me feel like these violations are outrageous. There's rumors that campus visits, or not even campus visits, high school visits, they were giving potential athletes money out of in paper bags and McDonald's bags. They also started fake fundraisers to give tickets to potential recruits. You guys remember running back Eric Gray that we talked about on the podcast a lot. He was involved. Five-star Amarius Mims was involved. I heard there's a whole list of recruits, but those were two of the big names. Brandon, what do you expect to see here coming out of Tennessee? Do you agree with the firings, and what do you make of these allegations?
I agree with the firings because, in my opinion, Jeremy Pruitt. I know what he did last season. I know what he did in 2019, and how much better Tennessee was in that second half of the season they were in the first half. I mean, they were good enough to the point that we were like, you know what, maybe don't fire Jeremy Pruitt, because in the first half of our first season of this podcast, we were just on the fire Jeremy Pruitt train. I was sitting there screaming it. I'm pretty sure we mocked up a T-shirt that said that on it, but no, I mean, obviously he turned that around, but this past season, I mean, things were just bad. He was already kind of on the hot seat. I mean, like you said, a lot of people were maybe expecting him to get one more year, but after this, man, that's tough to do. The McDonald's bag thing. I mean, what I will say, Zach, is that these past 2 weeks, at least in the United States, memes have been everywhere about everything, and they've been golden, almost all of them. First, we got the Bernie Sanders legs cross meme. That's I love that one.
That one might be one of the best of all time.
It's great. It's fantastic. That one, the ones I really enjoy are President Biden talking nonsense in memes, like things he definitely didn't say, but people are just making fun of him. I like those. And then the Tennessee players getting McDonald's bags. I've seen McDonald's cartons, fried cartons with dollar bills rolled up in them instead of fries. I've seen a lot of stuff, and it's really been competing. I think that's hilarious that he's just, why McDonald's bags? That's my question.
Listen, if I'm a recruit, and I'm not getting a bag from a Longhorn bag, like a takeout bag from Longhorn, or like Ruth Chris, or something like that, put it in a Whole Foods grocery bag. I don't care. At least you went to Whole Foods. That's a nice place, I feel like. I mean, McDonald's is kind of bummy though, right? But I guess it's a high school kid, Brandon. How much McDonald's did you eat as a high schooler?
I mean, I went there. I'm willing to say every other day.
I'm not going to dox you, but you lived fairly close to a McDonald's, if I remember.
I don't live there anymore. You can dox me. Me. I don't live there anymore.
Oh man, old Smokewood, but Smoke Rise. But I don't know, Brandon. I mean, the best meme I've seen of this is by far someone took a picture of Tennessee running out of the tunnel and put the arches as the tunnel.
I'm telling you, man, they were golden arches.
Yeah, I can't believe you forgot the Conor McGregor memes and the Nate Robinson memes. They are epic right there. The one of them sleeping on the couch and Bernie watching them as like a babysitter. I cried about that one, man. That one touched my soul in a different way. But I mean, Brandon, I feel like you got to agree with them. I feel like when you have violations, all success on the field is kind of thrown out. I feel like once you start handing out cash and bags to high schoolers, man, like regardless if you just won a national championship, like that's probably a wrap on your career, right?
Yeah, I think it is. Either that or he'll be like an intern at Alabama.
I mean, well, oh, he could go the Hugh Freeze route. I mean, Hugh Freeze was buying hookers for potential athletes, and so and he just got a job at a Christian school. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
that's the way to go. You got to
No
you got
one
to
talks about that
reinvent
anymore, by the way.
yourself. They
People
don't.
just seem to have
Everyone loves
forgotten
Hugh
that.
Freeze. Everyone
Yeah.
loves Hugh Freeze. Every job opening that's come this all season, it's who'd be a great person, Hugh Freeze. he's a great dude. I mean,
Let's
but
hire Art Briles on the staff as well.
listen, I gotta say, Hugh Freeze in terms of athletes or famous people, um, who have done something fairly bad and reinvented themselves and just got people to forget it. I feel like Hugh Freeze has got to be in the top five.
No, he's done OJ. Well, people don't forget about OJ,
Yeah,
but
people. I mean, I was
OJ.
thinking like Ray Lewis, Kobe. I mean,
Ray
there's a
Lewis
few.
had. Oh my God, Kobe. Yeah. Carl Malone.
There you go. Lamar Odom. I mean,
Yeah.
we have a list here. I mean, this has gotten off the rails already. We are very soon into this talking about somehow we're talking about Lamar Odom and Ray Lewis. But I mean, and the thing that is almost creepy about Tennessee, man, they've everyone's transferred out. This roster is going to be something else to say. I mean, this is going to be like if you got on NCAA and just released all your good players.
Right.
You're playing with 60 overalls at every position, and you look at the team, and then you're like, oh, I wonder who's the acting head coach. Brent, it's Kevin Steele, who
People forget.
who Auburn fans just about burnt down the university for almost hiring after Gus Malzahn was fired, and Gus Malzahn's the leading candidate right now.
That look, Tennessee's just going to be Auburn 2.0.
And the bad part is there are other so there was a rumor, and Jeff Fisher said this is true. They reached out to Jeff Fisher about this job. Yes, the same Jeff Fisher that about ran Tennessee into the ground outside of the one Super Bowl appearance.
Yeah, I mean he's making a famous return to the state of Tennessee. Knoxville, maybe a little less nice than Nashville.
A little. I feel like that's a significant amount.
Yeah.
I feel like when you're ranking places in Tennessee to go, like there's a difference there. But I mean, I look at this team, man, and who's going to take this job, Brandon? I mean, realistically, and Tony Elliott was linked to the job. Tony Elliott's going to be linked to every job for the end of time. So is Brent Venables. Tennessee fans said they were too good of a university for Tony Elliott.
Pardon me?
That was the thing. I was researching this topic when we picked it out. Tennessee fans really think the Tennessee job is above Tony Elliott, and they said it would be a downgrade.
Oh my goodness. I mean that's bananas. That's insane.
Do you know how lucky they would be to get Tony Elliott?
Insanely lucky.
I mean, listen, Tennessee fans, we got to bring you back to like reality. You haven't been good since like 1998 minimum.
Minimum.
I mean, yeah, y'all went to an SEC championship in like the mid 2000s, got smacked multiple times, but when's real, Brandon? I mean, we grew up in the same, kind of like college football era. Do you remember Tennessee ever being good?
No, I don't. In the time that I've watched, no. I remember a couple years and they were supposed to be good.
Oh, that's a fact. I mean, yeah, there was a few years, but I mean, y'all couldn't even win a Super Bowl with Peyton Manning. Like, let that sink in.
That's tough.
Let that sink in. Y'all won with the quarterback after Peyton Manning somehow. I don't know how you do that. You downgraded in quarterback talent, and you still I don't understand how you did it, Tennessee. But I mean, so Brandon, if you had to like guess, I mean, do you think they feel this anytime soon? Do you think they're like everyone's gonna hang on and wait to see what the allegations are? Like, how do you see the situation exactly playing out up there in Tennessee?
No, I think you're pretty much dead on right there. I think candidates probably will wait until all of this not really blows over, but until it's been 6 days since that news broke. So when we're recording, when this comes out, I guess it's been 1 week, but like that's not a lot of time. I mean, that's a big situation to be getting yourself into. I mean, this is. I mean, I don't want to put this on like an equal plane to like the Ole Miss scandal or even something as bad as like the Baylor scandal. But like when things like this happen, like coaches are going to want to stay away, especially high profile coaches like Tennessee. Apparently, I don't know. There's a difference between how okay. So why are they okay with Gus Malzahn, but no one else? Like
This is the same program. I mean, I get why they didn't want him, but let me just say this. Okay. Greg Schiano would have been a better hire than Jeremy Pruitt. Let's just
fair.
get that out there. I don't care what program he was on and what year. They were getting mad because he was on some shady teams, but he never was charged with anything. So I don't understand why they were mad at him. But they pretty much hired Greg Schiano. They ran him out of town, and now they want Gus Malzahn,
Immediately.
but Tony Elliott's not good enough. Look, this just shows how delusional Tennessee fans are. I mean, Brandon, we remember what happened the last time Tennessee searched for a coach and just the mayhem that ensued. This one could be even worse. And I know that sounds crazy to people who are up to date on what happened last time, where they hired like 7 people and no one ended up actually taking the job until Jeremy Pruitt. But this one could be a disaster if they don't handle this right.
No, you're right.
And I want to get predictions for who it is, but until I find out like the allegations, Brandon, I don't feel like we can make a reasonable guess at who they're going to hire.
No, I mean, that's fair enough. Like I was saying, I guess I never really got around to my point. I kind of went around it, but no, I mean, I don't know a coach in their right mind, one that's not like desperate for a job that would like be willing to stick their neck out for this Tennessee job right now. I think realistically, we see a coach waiting a month or so.
Yeah. And I mean, so if I know it's so hard, man, especially with the NCAA, what kind of punishment are we looking at here?
Postseason ban, which won't really affect Tennessee, which
I was
sucks.
about to say, I was like, okay, bet. I was like, I thought they already had
Po-
one.
Postseason ban, definitely. They're probably
Loss of
going to take
scholarships.
scholarships away.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. I mean,
I
they'll
wonder.
probably be fined a ton.
Yeah, I would imagine. And everyone's fired. I think it was what Pruitt, on camp, 4 people on the on campus recruiting staff, a football quality control analyst, the director and assistant director of football personnel. Who was it? The linebacking coach. I mean, they fired everybody. And I mean, Brandon, this is so serious. I mean, you kind of like read what happened. I mean, they had 4, 5, 6 hour interviews with these people.
Yeah.
I
I want to
mean,
know. I want to. I guess what I want to know is how come it's always these programs like Tennessee and Ole Miss that get busted for this sort of thing, like programs that aren't competing for for championships.
uh, okay. Well, I mean, let's just be honest here. I know who you're targeting with this. I feel like they're scared. I mean, Brandon,
Yeah.
do they want those problems? I don't think they do.
No, I mean those are the programs. The programs that shall not be named are the programs that bring a lot of the money to the NCAA. So yeah, fair.
And the other thing is okay. So like, yes, I would say that the Baylor scandal is the most serious from the recent one we've had.
Oh
Then
yeah,
work down to Ole Miss, then work down to here, were the 3 like big scandals. I mean, there's minor violations all around the country, but I would say out of the 2 programs that we've seen so far, Baylor did the best job at rebuilding, and they were
this
torn
is
down the
crazy.
most. The hire, it shows that the first hire after the scandal is the most important, and they made a hire of Matt Rule that was absolutely spectacular.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
It was amazing, and I think Ole Miss was one away. I mean, they had like Matt Luke, and that wasn't great. But I think the hire Lane Kiffin's a good one. I think they're back on the right track. But I don't really trust. I don't trust Tennessee to make that right choice, Brandon. And I get it. Gus Malzahn, he went to a national title. He has a winning record. He's arguably the best coach on the market in terms of head coaches that aren't already employed. But you saw what Auburn was at the end. I mean, Do you think Gus Malzahn, let's just say they hire Gus Malzahn, Brandon, do you think he could come in and change anything? And would he be successful?
No, I honestly don't think Gus Malzahn will be able to do anything in Tennessee. I mean, what was he able to do in Auburn? He was able to win a national championship as an offensive coordinator. He was able to get to a national championship as a head coach and not win it. He just basically riding the talent on both of those by like a really, really good quarterback. I don't know if Tennessee, especially after the recruiting violations, is going to have like access to that kind of talent for the next however long. I think he's honestly fired before they can get any kind of talent like that. If he does get hired,
Right. I mean, I feel that. I just listen. Okay, this is gonna sound weird, Brandon. I think he's the best hire they could make right now,
really,
if that makes sense. Who are they getting better than Gus Malzahn right now?
that's true. I mean, when you say it like that, just because who's going to want to go to Tennessee other than the head coach that just got fired?
Right. And I think he's a better hire than Kevin Steele.
Well, yeah, he was Kevin Steele's boss last year.
Yeah, and there's a whole rumor about Kevin Steele trying to take his job and undermining him. So there's a lot of drama there between the two. But I think it's a good hire for a team that's coming off of violations like this. I mean, for Malzahn to be at Auburn as long as he is, he never even had like a minor violation.
That's true.
So if you're looking for someone to get the program back on the right track, maybe. But guys, we're going to keep you updated on this whole Tennessee drama. You know Tennessee. There's some no good, low down scoundrel up there, but you can't have have everybody being good over there. We're gonna get some other allegations soon, I'm sure. More stuff's gonna come out. They said they haven't released everything, Brandon, because they're still under investigation. Let's get to some good news. Brandon's favorite topic of the day. It might be horns not down anymore, as Texas has hired Steve Sarkisian as their head coach. It's happened a little while ago, but we were caught up with championships and all kind of stuff. But we're here to cover it officially now. Brandon, Tom Herman out, Steve Sarkisian in. What grade do you give this hire, and what do you expect from Sark down in Austin, Texas?
I honestly, Zach, and it's horns down for life. By the way, like get that straight before we get any further. But this was a great hire. I mean, I don't know if they could have made a better hire in Texas. I know how much money they have. I know the kind of people they could have hired, I guess, technically. But Steve Sarkisian, I mean, is top of the list. If we forget about the whole drinking during pep rallies at USC thing, if we forget about that, then he's the best hire they can
have. I forgot about that. I honestly forgot about that.
He was tough. He was mixing. He said bad things happen when you mix drugs and alcohol, which leads me to my next question. Why was he mixing drugs and alcohol? But here we are.
I mean, I think he learned from his first mistakes, Brandon. I mean, there's a lot of coaches who have not been successful in their first head coaching job that have went on to do really good things in their second. But, to go from Tom Herman to Steve Sarkisian and get the probably hottest coaching candidate in the country, it's got to be a steal, right? I mean, to take from Alabama, because, I mean, Texas has been trying to get Nick Saban for a while. So why not get his top assistant and see if he can bring that Alabama swagger to Texas? And you look at the talent Texas has access to, Brandon. I mean, I'm going to be going on another podcast later today to talk about the Big 12 this year. And I came across the stat, Brandon. Texas has been the number one recruiting class in the Big 12 for like 5 out of the last 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's that big name program that, I mean, if you're a high level recruit, they're going to be in your top, like, if not 5, top 10 for sure.
Yeah, and he also reached out to Quinn Ewers, that number one quarterback coming up in the next recruiting cycle. Brandon, is there any way he could flip him, do you think?
I mean, so Quinn, I know he was originally committed, decommitted, and now is he recommitted to Ohio State?
Yeah, he's committed to Ohio State.
Okay, so maybe. I mean, crazier things have happened. I don't personally, after years of pain, I've learned that I don't like to trust verbal commits. I don't like to trust anything until pins on paper when it comes
And
to
then you still
recruiting.
can't
So
trust them with the transfer portal.
Zach, why are we doing this today? What's up? You feeling okay? I'm
No,
not.
I'm not. I'm still pissed. I got called out for not having good information and then it being spot on and just no one saying anything.
Thanks, LSU Dan.
It wasn't even him. It was just other people in there,
No,
but it's fine.
Dan's cool. Everyone else, yeah, yeah.
Everyone else can catch me outside. But I mean, so do you agree? I mean, everyone. So we've been talking about Tom Herman being on the hot seat for a while, Brandon, but no one thought that this was going to be the year that they made the move. Why do you think they made the move this year?
I honestly cannot explain it because if I know Texas like I think I know Texas, this was like I never expected this out of them. I never expected this sort of thing out of them. Um, like I said, I don't know if it was the last episode. It was one of our recent episodes. Like it's shocking because this isn't the sort of thing Texas does. Texas will hold on, as long as their coaches get them a winning season, at least recently, anyway. They'll hold on and they'll hold out hope. Not this time, and good for them. I'm not happy about it. I hate Texas, but if you're a Texas fan, I would be ecstatic. I cannot explain it.
And now you give arguably one of the most gifted offensive minds in college football, arguably the best returning running back in college football, other outside of Barisi Hall
Right.
and Bijan
Right.
Robinson. You have all those wide receivers coming back. You're gonna have a new quarterback. And it really shocked me, Brandon. I get, Ellinger's been there for a while, but you finally have an offensive minded head coach that you just saw what he did with Mac Jones and Devontae Smith. Sam Ellinger knows he's not going to be a first round pick. Why wouldn't you just take a chance and come back?
That's true. I don't know when Sam Ellinger is going to be drafted realistically. Like he'll be drafted, but he's going to be like a late round, mid round, late round guy. So I don't know.
It's going to be. I would say a mid round guy. I'll look at him kind of like Jake Fromm last year,
Right.
and I think that's kind of where he's going to fall around that fourth round spot, fifth round, because someone's going to take a waiver on him.
And then he just won't ever play. And I'm not saying this. Like it might be funny, but I'm not saying this to be funny. I don't know where Jake Fromm's at.
The Colts.
I don't know.
Yeah, because I think
Maybe.
Philip Rivers just retired, and so they're talking about giving Jake Fromm a shot at the starting quarterback job next year.
Got it. That's wild. I wouldn't. Also, on the same note, and I know this is a little bit off topic. Do you know where Anthony Gordon's at? I didn't know.
Is he on the practice squad somewhere?
No, he's on a roster.
Ooh, I don't know.
He plays for the Chiefs. How crazy is that?
That's wild. Okay,
I told you guys he was going to be a Super Bowl quarterback.
And I just found out I'm full of what. I got Jake Fromm and Eason mixed up. Fromm's on the Bills.
Oh,
He's the third string
weird.
quarterback behind Barkley and
That's
Josh
bad.
Allen.
That's
Yeah.
that's bad. That's bad if you're behind Barkley.
But yeah, Jacob Eason is actually going to be starting for Indiana next year. If
Okay.
I had to get, yeah, we'll see. I mean,
Jacoby Stevens.
that's tough. I mean, listen, I think Easton will be fine. But anyway, that's not what we're here to talk about. Oh man, but you got Sarkisian who spent time with the Falcons, Washington, USC. He spent time at Alabama. I mean, he's been under so many legendary coaches in terms of Chris Peterson, Nick Saban, Dan Quinn, and them at the Falcons. I mean, you got to look at this dude. He has the resume. He has the offense, which Texas needs. He has that experience. Now, I think this is Brandon, we do a scale / like letter grade. I'm giving this a 10 and an A+ for Texas.
Yeah, I don't know if I can give it a 10. I'll give it a 9.2. I think it's an insane hire. It's a great
Okay,
hire.
I don't get your scale. Like, okay, so like out of all the available hires in the country, he was the best one. So like, how is it not a 10?
A 10 would be if Texas would have landed Nick Saban somehow.
But he's not available. That's impossible.
He is kind of. Everyone has a price.
No, he doesn't. They
Yeah.
offered him $10 million like 10 years ago. Yep. He like it's not happening. I promise.
So Nick Saban's a 10 and Dabo is like an 8.5.
Stop it. Stop it. You
No,
need
I'm
to
kidding.
stop it. I will cancel all our credentials, all our episodes. They're just going to be deleted. This episode's not even going out.
Okay.
I'm putting this on my personal YouTube page. It's
Oh,
going to be
okay.
the exposed Brandon episode.
It's
If
my
we're going to be,
blackmail episode.
you think you're getting the house, but I'm blackmailing you. But I love it, man. I think Texas is going to be on the upswing. Brandon, I got to ask this question. Everyone's been bringing it up. Is this the coach to get Texas into the playoffs in a natty?
That's such a tough question. I'd say this is the coach that's going to get them as close as Texas is going to get right now. If he's there and he can build something up over the next 5 years, sure. I don't see it in the short term. I don't see it in the next year, 2 years, 3 years, maybe 5 years. We could see Texas making a playoff run, but it's going to be a journey for sure. I feel like this program has a lot to rebuild.
I know some people predicting Texas to be in the playoffs next year already.
Wow.
That's tough.
I tell that person to meet me outside.
I feel you. I feel you. But guys, talking about USC as a path spot for Steve Sarkisian, we got some USC news here. Brandon, we only cover specific players in recruiting when they are the best of the best, and I feel like this kid falls in it. The number 3 national player for next year's recruit class, number 1 DB, the number 1 DB, number 1 player in the state of California, 99.999 composite rating from 247. Damani Jackson, 6'1", 185 out of Mater D, Santa Ana, California, commits to USC. Brandon, how big is this for the Trojans?
Gigantic. I mean, the 0.999 alone, and I know there's been a few players that have been a 1.0, which is even crazier. I just don't know how you do that.
Trevor Lawrence.
Trevor Lawrence, yeah. But Zach, when your pro comparison is Marshawn Lattimore, you're pretty good. You're really, really good if you're compared to one of the best DBs in the NFL. So yeah, this kid's definitely the real deal. And I mean, go watch his tape. I know I say this about every recruit. Go watch his tape. You won't be disappointed.
No, the kid is big. I mean, to be a junior in high school right now, be 6'1", 185. This kid's going to be stout at the line. He's going to be able to play press man coverage. He's not going to be out. He's not going to be out physical by anybody. I mean, but for USC to land this kid over Alabama, Ohio State, all these huge schools, Michigan was making this kid a top priority. I mean, how in the world did USC get this kid? Because, I mean, we've talked recently about USC letting these home state kids walk as 5-stars, and they finally got one to stay. How do you think they did that?
That's a good question. I mean, I feel like kids want to stay home. I feel like Corey Foreman staying home has been having a lot to do with a lot of these recruits in California saying, you know what, let's stick with USC. I mean, even I know you talked about it earlier. Eli Ricks is wanting to go back home and go to USC, and I mean, it's just I don't know. It's one of his parents moved to Baton Rouge, but he wants to go back to USC. So like, there's something going on. Maybe there's a little bit more than McDonald's bags. I'm not sure, but there's something for sure, man.
I mean, let's be honest. Okay, you live in Baton Rouge right now.
Yeah.
Would you not rather live in LA on the beach with the sunshine where it's 70
LA,
degrees year round?
LA sucks, but yeah.
Stop
I mean,
it.
I get what you're saying.
Stop
Zach,
it.
I've lived out there too. LA sucks. The surrounding area is phenomenal. It's incredible.
Santa Barbara's where it's
sucks.
at.
Santa Barbara's where it's at.
Oh, man. But think about this defense, man. Let's talk about what it means for USC. I mean, Corey Foreman, Damani Jackson, possibly Eli Ricks. Their sophomore safety this year just won the Defensive Player of the Year in the Pac-12. Is there a defensive revolution going on at USC right now?
People want to play for Clay Helton. Is that what's going on
That's
right
what
now?
I'm saying. Just a second ago, we were talking about how this dude, not just a second ago, but like, what last all season, we were talking about how this dude was out of town for sure. He gets to the Pac-12 championship, and now he's landed every 5-star in the country.
He was on like the hottest of hot seats at the beginning of last season. I'm pretty sure you and I both. I'm pretty sure that we both predicted him to be gone like mid-season. Something clicked. I don't know what it is, but something clicked. People want to play with Keaton, is what it is. I think.
I don't know about that. I mean, to play for like the 5th best quarterback in the country,
Fifth,
it's kind of
fifth is
tough.
pretty good. Fifth best is still really good, Zach.
It's still not
Or at
better than
least better
Sam
than that.
Howell, but
Okay.
I mean, this kid, like I said, he's big. He runs a 4.5 already, Brandon. It's a low 4.5. It definitely could be pushing 4.4 range. His acceleration's outrageous. His vertical's outrageous at 31 inches. I mean, this dude is a beast. You've already talked about Marshawn Lattimore comparisons. Brandon, he played receiver until this year,
Right.
and he's already a 5-star at a new position. The number one player at that position wasn't even at this position 12 months ago.
Yeah, I mean that's wild. Something else I noticed about his 247 page, Zach, is that I don't know if you noticed this. His last offer, last collegiate offer, was from Cal. So I don't know if at this point Cal is just hoping like something wrong happens everywhere else, and he decides to go there. But why in the world would he go to Cal
I don't know, man. That's a tough look for Cal to not offer an in-state prospect this good.
until June?
Yeah, that's a bad look. I can't defend Cal, and you know what? I don't think anyone on this show expects me to defend Cal, and everyone heard you say that and said, "Yep, that sounds like a Cal thing to do." Let's be
Makes
honest
sense.
here, and
Stick to stick to stick to being smart and having protests on campuses and things.
that's a low blow, but
It's not
we'll
a
let it
low blow.
ride.
It's what happens.
We'll let it
I didn't say
ride.
it was a bad thing.
Yeah, but I'm excited for this pickup for USC. But like you said, until that pen hits paper, nothing's guaranteed. This kid can play zone. This kid can play man. He can travel. I'm excited to see how USC uses him. But USC always has a good quarterback, always has wide receivers. They got to get a little bit of rushing game, but they'll put up points. If they start shoring up the defense, this team is going to be a serious playoff contender. And that defense in the next 3-4 years is going to be looking absolutely like one of the best in the country. And for me, Brennan, I think college football is better when USC is good. So I'm really hoping this signals the return of USC in terms of national prevalence.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Me too.
A huge pickup there. But let's go to another pickup, back to the coaching carousel. Brandon, I cannot believe I'm about to be saying this. Alabama hires offensive coordinator not Steve, my bad. Bill
We
O'Brien to
wish.
replace Steve. Yeah, right. To replace Steve Sarkisian. He'll be the offensive coordinator / quarterback coach. Brandon, how many, what would he trade Najee Harris for right now?
He traded Najee Harris. Um, I saw a tweet that said a home and home with Virginia Commonwealth University or something like that.
I mean,
That's
I
crazy.
love it. I love it. I mean, but what do you think of the hire, man? Give it a grade. What is your take on this? And does it, and let's just be honest, does it even really matter who they would have hired?
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, realistically, I mean, out of everyone that Alabama could have gotten, this is like a three. Like this is bad. But no, it doesn't matter because it realistically is Bill O'Brien going to be calling the plays? I don't think so. I know Nick Saban's a defensive coach, but he's really just the greatest head coach of all time. So somebody else will be calling in plays. He'll be using Sark's old playbook. Um, no, Bill O'Brien, bad hire, man. This is awful.
It's I am just shocked right now, man. Listen, and did you hear what Nick Saban said about the hire?
What?
He said that we shouldn't look at his coaching at the Texans. He just had too much on his plate,
Oh, okay.
and so now he's going to go win a
He just
natty.
had he just had the best wide receiver in the league, and maybe one of the best up and coming quarterbacks in the league. Is like just pure talent.
Yeah, apparently.
I mean,
I don't know. I mean, listen, people forget though, Brandon. Let's be honest here. He was the coach that took the Penn State job after the whole Jerry Sandusky scandal. So he
so
knows pressure.
He's known for bad decisions too.
Listen, I mean, he got them. He okay. That program got decimated, and he finished an 8-4 record, man.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, he also was on Bill Belichick's staff calling plays as offensive coordinator for 2 Super Bowls and was the quarterback coach when Brady had Randy Moss and won the MVP.
But I mean, everything you're saying here, Zach, is like you're not giving him any credit. Like Bruce Arians is about to be in the Super Bowl with Tom Brady. That's
true.
Bruce Arians.
Okay,
Yeah.
listen. If
he
you were
wasn't even coaching 2 years ago,
if you were the quarterback coach for the Buccaneers, would you be in the Super Bowl right now?
Probably, yeah.
You'd be like, Tom, listen, just go ahead and go throw the ball over there. That's cool. Do whatever you need.
Did you hear Bruce Arians this year say, oh, yeah, this year's a lot better than last year. We have a quarterback in Tom Brady who I just let him call the offense, really. So, like, what? No, yes, absolutely. I would be in the Super Bowl if I had Tom Brady on my team, Zach.
The crazy thing is like Bill O'Brien played defense in the NFL. Did you know that?
I did not know.
Yeah, he played defense, and somehow now, and he also graduated with a degree in political science. So that is also a fun fact we got today.
He's the next Gene Chizik.
Oh God. That would be hilarious. But listen, I mean, I like this hire just because, listen, when you go into think of the presence Nick Saban already has walking into a kid's house and you see all the rings, all this stuff. And then you're like, hey, my offensive coordinator. Yeah, he was also just in the NFL last year and has all these connections. Not only am I best friends with Bill Belichick, I got his coach right here.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact that Alabama is getting this type of advantage on the recruiting trail is just almost unfair.
That's true.
And they're talking about getting NFL running back coaches, NFL wide receiver. I mean, they're getting NFL, I guess, head coaches just to come be position coaches. That doesn't make sense. If LSU couldn't even get a defensive coordinator, and he's just going to call up a head coach from the NFL and be like, yeah, you want to come up here and just coach quarterbacks?
No, cool. They did. The Vikings.
Did they? Oh, that's tough.
Yeah.
Okay. So just random off the top of your head, grade both these hires. Bill O'Brien, LSU's new defensive coordinator.
Honestly, Zach, I mean, if I had to give these a ranking, I would like to stick with my 3 for Bill O'Brien, but you're pretty convincing. If I have to take into account everything that you just mentioned about his his connections and everything, he technically was an NFL GM like 3 months ago. So, I mean, that's pretty cool. I'm sure players will probably like that. I'd probably boost that grade up to like a 7.3, like pretty close to 7.5, not quite. Now, as for LSU's defensive coordinator, I'd like to know more about the guy. I mean, I think that I think it's a really good hire for LSU. I mean, obviously it wasn't their first or second or third or fourth or fifth choice, but Durante Jones, I mean, he's an NFL defensive coordinator, or he was a defensive backs coach. So he was a coach for the Dolphins for a little while. Zach, do you know anything about this guy?
So he wasn't like a big coach for the Dolphins, but like, I mean, he's not a bad hire. Listen, in all actuality, I think Coach O is going to have a lot of input on the defense.
Yeah.
And I think regardless of who they hired, they're going to have to split up that duty. And I think it's a good hire because I think anytime you hire anyone from the NFL, Brandon, regardless of their role, anything like that, I think it's going to be okay. And I think LSU made a good hire, especially with how bad the fan bases were just the fan bases for LSU are toxic, Brandon. And the
Oh
fact
yeah, I
that
know.
it was getting to the point where people were saying that you guys are never going to survive and that you guys like finished last in the SEC. It's like, what are you even talking about?
Yeah, Zach, we all know LSU fans are the worst. Like, I love LSU, and I'm an LSU fan, but we're the worst.
Yeah, but I mean, he didn't have a huge role with Miami, so I don't know a super lot about him. But he coached Miami when we were absolute dog, you know what? So I'm not giving him a lot of credit there. Apparently, he didn't do his job for me, so I hope he doesn't do his job for y'all. Um, but no, it's not a bad hire. But I would give Bill O'Brien a 5, Brandon. I like to give 5s for jobs I'm unsure about. So I'm giving it
Okay.
a 5 there. It could go either way. And for an Alabama hire, they could have hired your dog, Athena, and they would have won a natty this year. It didn't matter. And for the LSU hire, probably need to read more, but like for way too early reaction, I'm gonna give it a 6.
Okay.
I think it's a good hire. I think he has NFL ties. I think him and Coach O should be able to work well together. So I like that hire. The only thing I need to see is can he recruit? That's the
Now
biggest thing when you hire NFL people.
that and what else I'll say is that he has coached under Dave Aranda before. Like he was at Wisconsin the same time that Dave Aranda was.
Oh,
So he's
that I
got that
like
connection.
that. I like
Yeah.
that a lot. I
Yeah.
mean, because to
So
be honest, Dave Aranda really set the tone in terms of that LSU kind of defensive mentality. So I like that hire, then I really do. Did not know he coached under Aranda. But we got one last topic here to knock out, guys. Larry Scott. Um, I don't think anyone in the country was more vocal about Larry Scott and Kevin Warren than your boy here. He is officially out as commissioner of the Pac-12, Brandon, in June. So his contract was set to expire of June 2022, knocking him out a little bit early. There's been a lot of talk about who they're going to hire. There's a long list of candidates, but no word yet. Thoughts on this, and what are you looking for the next commissioner of the Pac-12 to do to improve that conference?
that's a great that's a great question, honestly. I mean, I think Larry Scott, I'm not really sure why he stepped down. Do you have any more insight as to like why he might have stepped down?
I think it was more like a forced step down.
Yeah, I mean, I could see like the way he handled the season this year being a reason, just because like I know the SEC took a big cut in like in how much money they made, obviously, but the Pac-12 had to just be like this had to be like the worst year they've ever had. So I mean, maybe that has something to do with it. Um, and I understand like he didn't have like I don't want to give him too much credit because there were other commissioners that handled this a lot better. I'd say he handled it maybe the worst. I mean, Kevin Warren did a bad job, but maybe he potentially could have handled this whole situation, as bad as he possibly could have. Um, I don't know. I'd say maybe the next guy up could probably maybe lead their conference, maybe like the SEC or the ACC or the Big 12 or one of these conferences that actually made a season happen and didn't lose all of the money that the Pac-12 probably did.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I think also just there's so much pressure to have the right person there. You're looking at the Pac-12 right now; it gets no respect nationally in terms of playing football, like no playoff respect. They also had the whole thing about the players boycotting and wanting to get paid and stuff like that. So you got to have a strong presence. And I don't think he brought that. I get it. He's done a lot for the Pac-12, but I think there's still a lot to do. You got to improve the notoriety, the exposure of the Pac-12. You got to get different kickoffs, man. I
Yeah,
mean,
that's true.
good Lord, because 11 a.m. kickoffs, that's stupid. What are
Yeah,
we doing?
fair
But
enough. I mean, it's really dumb. And I'd say keep Pac-12 after dark, though. If you take that away from me, then I'm firing the next guy, too.
maybe one game, but why in the world? Okay, so the SEC is moving away from CBS, right, Brandon? I mean, that's
Yes,
that's a done
ESPN,
deal.
thank God.
Why in the world would the Pac-12 not jump on that and get a 4:30, 3:30 time slot?
That is a great question. That would be incredible. I'm sure. I mean, I don't think all the kinks have been worked out yet. That's still probably up in the air.
I don't know. I think that's up in the air. I think you can have I mean, there's so many time slots to play with, and I think that's a big concern. I think na I think home and home series are also a big concern. I know they have some now, with like Ohio State was supposed to go to Oregon this year. Auburn's supposed to be going to Cal and UCLA in the coming years. There's some of those games set, but you got to get in front of those Southern recruits, man. You got
Right.
to. You got to go down and play in Jordan Hare, Baton Rouge, Tuscaloosa, all that stuff. Because those recruits that are coming to visit those schools are going to see your program. And if you play well and make an impression, they're more likely to get there. They're going to have to figure that out. They're going to have to figure out how to make the players happy out there. And they're got to figure out money. Like you talked about that a little bit. I mean, the funding out there has to be able to match the SEC in terms of recruiting. Like facilities, all that has to be matched up. It's an arms race. And really and truly, Brandon, if we look at the Pac-12, the only program keeping up right now, realistically, in terms of everything, is Oregon.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's because they got Phil Knight.
Yeah, right.
That's it.
Right.
That is the only reason they're in that in terms of like facilities and stuff. But Cal, Utah, Arizona State, Arizona, those schools have to catch up. Washington State, I mean, they have to catch up. And I think this hire for the Pac-12 is going to be just probably one of the most important decisions of the entire offseason for any college football entity involved. And I don't, the thing I don't get is, so Larry Scott gets kind of forced down or kind of like shoved out the back door. Are we just letting Kevin Warren get off the hook here still?
We shouldn't. I already brought that up, man, but we absolutely shouldn't. I think that he's somehow getting credit from the Big Ten for there being a season.
That blows my mind because he did not want to have a season. I
Oh,
am just mind blown with that. But guys, we're going to keep you updated on the hire here. I would like to see some ideas from potential candidates and stuff like that. So we'll keep you updated on all that. But guys, that is a wrap on our storyline updating on the whole college football world episode. Y'all know where to find us, man. Instagram at the _ Blue Bloods, Twitter at the _ Blue Bloods, Facebook at the Blue Bloods Pod, YouTube, the Blue Bloods or the Blue Bloods CFB podcast. You can find us at both. And I forgot what the website was. Oh, the bluebloodspod.com, our website. Also, catch me on Couch Coach Live this whole week, man. Every other day, we breaking down all the conferences on there. And me and Brandon love our boy Couch Coach, so go give him a like and a follow as well. That is our homie. We got a lot of stuff planned. Brandon, Senior Bowl stuff coming from both of us. I know we are both so excited for that, so stay tuned for updates on that. And guys, like, subscribe, rate the podcast wherever you listen, man. We appreciate each and every one of y'all, man. Going into all season 2 right now. So, but for right now, we out.